Now let's start this program in earnest by looking at the unbundling of the mega ministry. Suggestions have been made to separate the Ministry of Labor, a Ministry of Power. Why did Labor come into my mind?
Don't know.
Separate the Ministry of Labor.
Power.
Ministry of Power. To ensure optimal performance and concentration in the power sector. The suggestions were made last month at the National Assembly, and it was asking the President to appoint a separate Minister of Power to oversee the activities of the sector. This followed a motion by a lawmaker representing Katsina North Senatorial. Please carry on.
Mustafa Bukar. The senator said the current minister is overwhelmed by functions in other ministries like works and housing that they're demanding too much from him. According to him, the role of the ministry has prevented the regulatory agency in the power sector, as the NARC, from performing optimally. But is that the situation? Is that the solution? I'm just asking.
They believe it might help. Because the challenges in the power sector are myriad.
Challenges in the power sector, challenges in the work sector. But
housing sector.
Housing, 17%, no, 17, is it 17,000? 17 million housing deficit. Okay, hold on. We're looking at how should we separate the power sector. Would that help in any way? We have some guests in the studio that will help us look at this. We have the Executive Director of the Research and Advocacy, Analyst, Sunday Oduton. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
And a lawyer, Mr. George Tommy, Power Sector Investor and Director at Disco. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I would have loved to look at you from the legal side of it. We'll be joined in the course of the program by a consumer rights activist, Adiolu Ogumajo. We're still expecting, we understand he's stuck in traffic. But let's come back here and look at the situation. Let me begin with Mr. Tommy. Mr. Tommy, that call for separation or for the unbundling of the mega ministry, what's your take?
Well, if you ask me, I think it's largely political. The argument could always be made that why should one person be given 3 mega ministries in a country that's so full of talent and all whatnot. It doesn't have to do with the performance on the job, don't get me wrong. It may just be for that simple reason. Now, it's entirely the president's discretion what he does with his ministerial appointments, and in his wisdom, he feels he's gotten the right person to oversee the 3 ministries. However, the legislators will also have a stake saying the burden is too onerous, and I'm sure there's so much buzz around each of these ministries, whether it's power, whether it's works, whether it's housing. They feel you need maximum concentration, and so you should separate them. At the end of the day, it's the president's call, and I'm sure after they do their political negotiations, they will arrive at some compromise.
But let's, so you are a core player in the power sector. What are the challenges of the power sector that will demand that that ministry be removed from the other so that more attention can be given to it?
Thank you. The way I want to look at it, perhaps George maybe they want to interpret it. Yoruba people say something, they say in Abeokuta where I come from, don't leave a small spot on the body while instead of treating chicken pox or something bigger, you are treating something that is quite small. What I'm trying to say is that the problem in the power sector is what we should be looking at. And that has nothing to do with the person of Mr. Raji Babatunde Fashola. It is nothing to do with whether there are 4, 5, 6, or 1 ministry. The problem is there. It has been there all the time. What we need to do is to see how we can solve the problem. Instead of doing job for the boys, let somebody else come and shop, or let's get somebody who can look at us well or help us well, or we can get something to do from there in terms of contract or whatever they do in their system. The truth of the matter is that the problem with the power ministry is not about that ministry being combined with the other two ministries. This man has been governor of Lagos State. Those three ministries are not to a state in terms of administrative, the burden or the load. The issue is this. Why haven't we been having light? You see that Fashola has not been working? Fashola has been working very hard. It is not about that. And I make bold to say, I don't speak for him. We even have a lot of our differences as far as Aded and his ministry is concerned. But he's still one of the best power ministers that we've ever had. What we should be looking at is, why is it that there's no light? There's a huge shortfall in this system. And the simple way to simplify it for our viewers is just to make it clear that if you are buying a product for 68 naira per kilo hour, and you are being forced to sell the same product, you as a distributor, because I speak for distributors, the discos, and you are being forced by law because of the tariff that was given down your throat to sell the same product at 31 naira 58 kobo. There's a gap between 31 naira 58 kobo and 68 naira. So it's about naira and kobo. Unless somebody do something about that shortfall.
Agreed before these concerns were handed over.
The agreement, I will tell you, and I'm happy you just asked that question. In 2013, and we have an investor here, they signed the dotted line. The agreement that they signed with the federal government was that the federal government would do A, B, C, and D. Then the incoming investor will do the following.
FGH.
FGH, yes. And what happened? The major basis, the foundation of this business is the naira and kobo, which is the issue of cost recovery, the cost of production, the cost of the product. And they said they will give them, they promised cost reflective tariff, which simply means appropriate pricing of the product. That was what was promised by the administration of Mr. Jonathan in 2013. As soon as these people came in, the government reneged. Everything the government promised, they failed to deliver. And the moment they didn't do that, then we started building shortfall every month. And the forest, as I said, they bought the entities, and here he is, an investor. I think naira to dollar was about 157 naira to $1. Check it out today, what it is. Now, you cannot run a business without considering the cost of production. You cannot run a business whereby the cost of buying it is much higher than the selling price for you below the value chain. And they expect you to perform magic, meter, transformer, everything. We are deceiving ourselves. And we have to come to a point whereby everybody who is involved in anything to do with the power sector, beginning from the Minister of Power himself, the Permanent Secretary Minister of Power, all commissioners of NAC, all DISCO CEOs, all GENCO CEOs, all other agencies like NEMCO, NEMSA, Rural Electrical Agency, even we, the association, the ANED, CEO of ANED, and executive director myself, the executive secretary of Association of Power Generation Companies, all of us together, they should ban us from using generator in our homes. We are not sincere. We cannot be using generator or have an option of using generator and we still want to fix the power sector. We are just playing politics with power. Let us fix this thing for Nigeria. So let there be the appropriate pricing of the product. Leave Fashola alone in that ministry, that money. Even there are people there with him who are undermining him, but that's their own problem.
Okay.
So in other words, no,